from Survivor Series, and Raw was not only all over the place, but things are still not making sense. And somehow we have 7 weeks of the same table spot, someone proclaiming that they are the so-called leader of a Survivor Series team when there has not been any anointed leader yet. And more importantly, it's looking like we're going to have a triple threat match for a title at some point before Survivor Series, but who knows when that is happening. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that is literally Raw summed up. Here's a new episode of Kimmy Talks Wrestling, starting right now. Back to a brand new episode. It's exciting. So, another thing is, we have super cool news coming next week. I'm so excited. I've been working super hard on this, but that's for next week when it actually happens. So yeah, something cool is happening and coming soon. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Raw. So Raw starts with, of course, the champion, Randy Orton. Randy says that he is no longer the legend killer. He is the legend, and he's the best of the best. He is better than Edge and Flair and all these legends, and he is not scared of anybody coming after his title because he's used to it. You know, he's a 14-time champion. He's been down this road before. Alexa comes out and she has the play and like the hurt gloves, and you know, she's like, he might be here. He might be coming. The lights go out and it's red, and you know, the little sound effects that happens when the Fiend comes out, kind of like his theme song but not. And Drew comes out, claymores Orton, Miz and Morrison come running, trying to cash in, and Drew's like, no bro, I'm going to be the one to take the title off Orton, not you guys. Tosses them over the ring, and that kind of sets up a 2-on-1 handicap match coming later on the show. So this is exciting. I like that we have many contenders for Orton, and it's not like with Drew where we sat there very confused, like, okay, now this feud's over, who is he going to wrestle next? Because there's many options you could go here. You could go with Orton. You could go with Drew. You could go with The Fiend. You could just go with a simple one-on-one match with The Miz without him even cashing in the title. You could do Morrison. You have so many options to do here, which is also really exciting. So I like this. This is a really cool segment too, and it played out throughout the night. Way to go. You know what wasn't good? The guitar on a pole match. So I was watching this with my roommate, and I just looked at her and I'm like, there's been worse things on a pole in this sport, and I sadly wish I could say I was lying, but I wasn't. Elias has his performance, and he says that, you know, there's a time in everyone's life where you have to admit the truth, and the reason that Hardy hit him with the car is because he's jealous. He's jealous of the fact that Elias has accomplished way more in his career than Hardy, which is literally not true. Like, if we could just step back a second, Elias has won 0 championships. How many has Hardy won? Hardy's a Grand Slam champion. Okay, bro. Just because your album hit #1 on iTunes does not mean you're all that. Hardy interrupts. They go through the match. Hardy wins. Please let this feud end. Please. Like, there's nothing more you can do. Elias, it wasn't Hardy that hit with the car. It was Sheamus. This is stupid. Hardy should be on the 5-on-5 elimination tag match. And we'll get there when we talk about Drew. Hardy should be in that tag match. He did not need to do with Elias. Go after Lashley. Do something. Not this. This is garbage. Do not continue this feud. Please, I beg of you. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I'm glad they have chemistry, that Mandy and Dana have chemistry, but I don't know. Like, I'm just waiting, because here's how I look at this. After Survivor Series, if you're looking down the women's roster, there's no, like, person that I could point out and be like, oh, I want Asuka to wrestle them. Like, there's no viable person. And we still don't know when Charlotte's coming back. Because I would say Charlotte, even though we've seen that match 100 times. But I don't know who I would pick next. I feel like Peyton and Lacey aren't ready, and that tag team is just so stupid. Lana, don't even. Like, I feel like there's no viable contender, so I'm literally waiting for, at whatever point they drop these titles, so one of them can wrestle Asuka. Let it be Shayna. I don't like Shayna, but let it be Shayna, because that makes the most sense. Like, seriously though, like, why? Like, what are you doing at TLC? We have another pay-per-view, people. At some point in December. I don't know when, they didn't announce it. But like, bro, really? Then Charlie interviewed next. He asked Orton, you know, are you scared that you're going to lose the title? Are you scared that all these people are coming after you? And he goes, you know, it's so funny how people just forget about the fact that the hunter slowly becomes the hunted. He's not scared of the Fiend, Drew, Miz, anyone else. He's confident, he's champion, he's going to remain that way. I like this. This is a cool side of Orton. I'm liking this. And then, so like I said in the beginning, Raw was really all over the place, and I literally mean this, because, so, Truth goes on to wrestle Lashley, and Sarah Schreiber interviews Truth, and he goes, and she's like, why are you wrestling him? And Truth goes, oh, you know, I'm not wrestling Bobby. He puts people in Nelson's from The Simpsons and whatever. He loses in about, like, maybe 2 minutes, if even less. Drew Gulak comes out, tries to win 24/7 title. And then Bobby puts him in the Lashley lock, and then he puts him on Truth from the women's title. Please get rid of this. But I have a theory. And I'm so excited. I think Truth is going to join the Hurt Business. I think Truth is next. Over the last, couple weeks, I've started, pinpointing things that made him, look more serious and turn more heelish. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is a very wide prediction. But if this happens, I'll be so excited. Truth is so underrated. Put him in a serious storyline. Remember at one point he wrestled John Cena for the title. This did happen in 2011. So this would literally be awesome. Please do that. It'd be so cool. But that's where I think we're heading. But yeah, this was stupid. Don't do this. Another Sarah interview next, and Nia's talking about how Lana interfered in the match because Lana was out there, scouting her tag team opponents, and says, Lana, she'll admit, hard worker, easy fighter, but there's another table with her name on it. 7 weeks in a freaking row. Please stop this. And then, in probably the most entertaining yet very long segment, Team Raw. AJ comes out and AJ says, Team SmackDown isn't playing around. They got Kevin Owens, they got Jey Uso, but what Team SmackDown doesn't have is a leader. AJ, they have 2 fifths of a team. The team isn't complete yet. You don't know who else they are adding. I am hoping they add Rollins. They probably aren't, but you never know. Says, he wants to hype all the team up. He brings out Keith Lee. That's not nice. I'm not even talking about Rollins. See how bullied I get here? Brings out Keith Lee, brings out Sheamus, and he starts making plans, and Keith Lee's like, we never made you a captain. Why are you acting in charge? And, it leads out for Braun Strowman to come out, and Braun is saying how he wants to be on the team and how he could really make them win, and how Lee should really be on the team because Strowman's better than Lee, and Lee's well, I beat you clean, bro, so I don't know what you're talking about. And this leaves the man of the hour, Adam frickin' Pearce. Who put this man in charge? I am still waiting for an explanation. Why? I don't know. Okay. I like Adam, he's a cool dude, but no one's ever explained to me why he's in charge. So Adam comes out and Adam's oh my god, I'd love for Strowman to be on the team. And then AJ is I have a brilliant idea. What if we do Braun Strowman versus Keith Lee versus Sheamus? And if Strowman can defeat Lee and Sheamus, he'll be on the team. So at least have a triple threat match, Strowman wins, and AJ's oh my god, this is great now since we're all teammates, we all need to shake hands. Lee and Strowman shake hands, Sheamus bro kicks Strowman, then AJ kicks Lee. What are you doing? I admit, with Jay turning heel on Friday, I doubt him and Owens are going to get along very well. But, why? Also, if you put Drew on this team, that, kind of defeats the whole freaking purpose of doing this whole AJ is the leader thing, because Drew's going to be the captain. So that defeats the whole purpose, which is why I think Hardy makes the better choice. Hardy wasn't in. Yeah, I think it should be Hardy. That's my saying. Then, speaking of more things stupid, Angel Garza's like, oh, someone special is in WWE for me, and even though we're apart, are you talking about Selena? Please tell me you aren't. This again also made no sense. Like, Angel's another one who you could put on that team. Like, you could literally have Angel be like the sole survivor for Team Raw. Another great, like, use him! Don't use him for this garbage. You call him, like, the next Eddie Guerrero for a reason, Vince. Another Charlie interview next. It's just a raw of interviews. So, you know, Drew has a good feeling about being Randy, and if it was his way, it would be Drew and Roman at Survivor Series, and it wouldn't be Randy. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know how we're doing this. There's only like I believe there's only like 2 Raws left. So next week after. And says that so many people are going to be excited defeating, like that he's going to defeat Miz and Morrison. Claymores for everybody. I miss him. Like, it's not like I miss him with the title because I feel like his title reign, it was long-lived, but he could have done a little bit more, but I feel like now that he doesn't have a title, like, after, like, whatever's gonna happen between Randy, him, and The Fiend, it's like, what are we doing next? US title? Something? Okay. You know the Raw was bad when the Firefly Funhouse segment didn't even make sense. So they're in there, right? And, you know, they dedicated to the RKO the 3 most devastating letters in all sports entertainment. And Sister Abigail's like, oh, like, she drops an F-bomb, and Alexa's like, oh, you can't curse here. And, you know, Bray starts talking about Randy and says how, you know, Randy's a bad man and he won't forget what he did, you know, because they had that feud in WrestleMania 33 where Bray won the title and feud with Orton because Orton won the Rumble. And Alexa goes, do you want to see a cool trick? And, like, blood drips from her mouth. What the hell is going on? The saddest part is, SmackDown was written, I believe, a half an hour before it started, and I believe they wrote Raw at the same time. So it's not like we can blame the fact that Raw was written at the last minute. It was written 3 days in advance. Oh. And even though I didn't watch SmackDown, because I was busy, I know it was better than Raw. Who is in charge? The headaches. Then in another thing that doesn't make sense, Lacey and Peyton Royce cut this promo, because, you know, they're on the same freaking page now. Oh, Lana's going to be the weak link. Lana's not even going to survive this match. You broke up the Iconics for this? Wasn't the whole point that Peyton was going to go after Asuka? What are you doing? If you're going to say one thing, stick to one thing. It isn't that difficult. And you guessed it, it's Lana versus Nia Jax, and I think we all know. Stop with this table. This doesn't make sense. I don't know if this is like a shot at Myro for going to AEW or whatever else. Stop doing this. It's Sammy's still champion by the time Survivor Series comes, then Bobby's gonna beat him and prove that he is definitely better than Sammy. MVP then goes on to say that, you know, like they took care of Retribution, and thank God they did. And now it's time for WWE to pay them back, and to pay them back, it's with championships. They're going to take the tag team titles off of Xavier and Kofi. They come out and they're like, you know, like, we're big fans of you. Like, we were big fans of Bob. Like, I was a huge fan of Bobby. You know, it's his time. We're so glad you're succeeding. I got in trouble watching his matches in middle school. And, you know, they go on to, like, put them over, which is really nice. And MVP, and, you know, Kofi's like, oh, like, we're the most historic tag team champions. MVP's like, how could you be historic if Brock Lesnar beat you in 8 seconds? And then Kofi goes, well, I think it's kind of funny you mentioned the number 8, because isn't that the number that Lana said, like, that's how many seconds Bobby can last? PG show, guys. PG show. So, you know, MVP goes on like, you know, like, we dress like this because we're serious businessmen and we matter and you guys are all about jokes. Woods says they could beat them. So it's Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander versus Woods and Kingston, non-title match, and they beat them. The Hurt Business won. So I don't know if this is gonna, like, I do not want the Street Profits versus the Hurt Business. I want the Street Profits versus the New Day. Just like the entertainment quality in that match is going to be phenomenal. If they take that away from us, I am going to be so mad. Please wait until the Raw after Survivor Series. Do not do it next week. Do not do it the week after. You have to do it November 23rd. Please. Take the titles off of them. Have the Hurt Business be dominant. Everyone gets titles. But wait. Do not do it too soon. Because The Street Profits and New Day have chemistry. The entertainment's gonna be gold. Do not ruin this for me, please. Especially because there's a good chance Rollins will be on the pay-per-view. Don't ruin it. Nikki Cross then confronts Alexa, and Alexa's like turned like around, so like you can't see her face. Nikki's like, I tried to call you and text you and like get in contact with you, like why aren't you answering me, yada yada whatever. And like I guess this is going to be phrased as Fiend Alexa, because you know like Bray has two sides, and I guess Alexa does too. So Alexa had like the colored contacts in her eyes and just like looked at her like this, and Nikki ran. So I'm excited, but I'm also intrigued because the whole thing with the Fiend is that once you come in contact with the Fiend, you change. So that means technically Randy's gonna change, I guess, back to a face, which would also be kind of stupid because Randy's on a really good heel run. But most importantly, does that also apply to anyone who comes in contact with Alexa changes? So does that mean Nikki's gonna go all crazy again and they're gonna be a tag team and be dominant women's tag team champions? That's something that should happen. Or we can make this really interesting and have Alexa go after Asuka and have Alexa win the title, have Bray have the title, they'll become dominant, and then them just change the whole roster. That's not going to happen, but it should. It definitely should. And this is my fear. So, Tucker versus Ricochet next. It was basically a squash match. Ricochet won in like probably a minute, but now Tucker's going to get buried. All because you did something so stupid. Like, you could have had them feud with The Miz. Why? Why did you turn him? Because now we're just going to get buried on the roster. Good going. Ali came out at the start of the match, and Retribution destroyed all of them. But this is actually really interesting. I saw this on Twitter this morning. So, if you go back to when Ali was the hacker, technically, he was the one that put Mandy and Otis together. And he was the one that destroyed Tucker for turning on Otis, and he admitted that on Raw Talk, and that is beautiful long-term storytelling, and that's what we live on in this business, ladies and gentlemen. Long-term storytelling, because it doesn't happen often. So it was good. It was really entertaining. Sheamus and Drew then, you know, like Drew's getting ready for his match against Miz and Morrison, and Sheamus goes, I want you as the 5th member on the team. And Drew's like, oh no, like, it sounds like a really cool idea, but I'm mainly just focused on getting the title from Randy. And he goes, well, think about it. I don't know. I think it makes the most sense for Drew to go on the team, because it would suck if you're not going to put him on the pay-per-view. But I also feel like if you're going to try to do some type of triple threat match before Survivor Series, it wouldn't make sense to just say that Drew's going to be the 5th member, because that's like, oh, Drew's not going to wrestle Reigns and then wrestle in the tag match. Like, that's going to be so dumb. So I'm intrigued to see where that goes, but it all depends on what they're doing with this title match. I don't know why they would change Orton and Reigns, because I feel like it's also going to be a really good match. I don't know why they're doing all this now, but I'm intrigued. Like I said, they do have other people to put in that 5th spot. They have Hardy, they have Garza. There's probably other people that I just can't think of because they only utilize the same people on a 3-hour show. You can put MVP there. Yeah, you can put MVP there. You can put someone from the Hurt Business on there. You know, there's 4 of them. Put Truth there. No, you're putting Lana. Put Truth. But I'm excited to see what happens. Obviously, we have 2 weeks of Survivor Series, so we'll see. And then in the main event, it's Drew versus Miz Morrison. Drew obviously gets to win here. This was a pretty good match too. Like, also like the New Day and the New Day and Alexander and Benjamin was the best match of the night. Like, that was a hard hitting match. They have such good chemistry. So when that tag match does happen for the titles, I'm very excited. But like I said, do it after Survivor Series. Drew gets the win. Orton comes out, RKO's him, but then as the show ends, you hear the Fiend laughing. So like I said, this is leading to some type of triple threat match. I don't know when. I really hope that they do it at TLC and they play out the story a little longer, because you could honestly get the Miz involved and make it kind of a fatal 4-way type thing. Or if you really want to do it, you can have the Fiend win and have Miz cash in, and then Miz turn back to like a face kind of, or like have him be like the heel he was when he had the IC title. So there's a lot of things you could do, which is really good for a title picture, because you don't know where you're going to go. You can have Drew and Orton next week. You can have him versus the Fiend. You can have him versus the Miz. There's so many ways you can go, and that's really good. Thank God. So, but yeah, that's your Raw review. So Thursday, you will have the AEW Dynamite review. Friday, you will have the Full Gear Full Gear is Saturday. I am so hyped. You will have the Full Gear predictions. Sunday you will have the Full Gear review. And then we'll be back to reviewing Raw and Dynamite and SmackDown. Also Saturday you'll have the SmackDown review. And then at sometime next week, like I've said in the beginning of this video, there is something super cool coming that I've been working really hard on. So I'm really excited. I'm not going to announce it yet. I'm only going to announce it when it takes place and I finish editing everything. It's for my final project for school, but I'm also using it as a video. So yeah. Make sure to like this video, comment what you like about Raw or what you dislike. If you want Izzy's opinion, Izzy flat out said like an hour ago that she turned off Raw halfway through. So I'm not crazy. Make sure to click that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications. I will see you Thursday for our AEW Dynamite review. It's a go-home show, guys. Are you ready? We've been waiting years for this tag match. Also, I do want to say, the freaking Young Bucks are legends because if you didn't see, they have pictures of people that are banned from Thunderdome. They have the picture of the Young Bucks on there, and they freaking made a shirt out of it. That's legendary. But yeah, see you guys Thursday.